Amitabh Bachchan was a struggling actor back then. He wanted to be cast in this film at any cost. But the role was being given to the popular actor Shatrughan Sinha. Amitabh went to a party hosted by the Sippys. He was running a temperature of 102 degrees. Still he turned up at the party. But he had a string of flops behind him and was branded as an iron leg in the industry. People came to Ramesh Sippy and told him to cast anyone else in this magnum opus, but not the tall, lanky guy there. They told him clearly that he was very unlucky. But as it was difficult to manage dates of all the superstars, Shatrughan Sinha was dropped and Amitabh took his place. When the production work of Sholay was going on, Zanjeer had already released, and overnight Amitabh became a celebrity and a star and also a lucky hero. Those are the ways of the film industry. He was already in love with Jaya Bhaduri back then. After the success of Zanjeer, Amitabh and Jaya had promised themselves to go on a holiday to London. After booking tickets, Amitabh told his parents. Those days, even stars were not allowed to travel to holidays with their girlfriends in some families. Harivanshrai Bachchan and Teji Bachchan refused to send Amitabh without getting married. So Amitabh said that they would get married the very next day and fly off to London. He called Ramesh Sippy and told him about his marriage with Jaya and asked him if anything would change in the cast of Sholay if they got married. Ramesh assured that nothing would change. They then got married the very next day on June 3rd, 1973. They went on slipping notes to the Pandit to finish the ceremony fast so that they don't miss their flight. Amitabh was off on his honeymoon, but Ramesh Sippy had to deal with a different kind of problem when they came back. Jaya Bhaduri, who was playing the widow in Sholay, came back pregnant. She struggled with morning sickness every day. Amitabh had mentioned in some of his interviews humorously that his daughter Shweta was also part of Sholay as Jaya was pregnant at that time. Apart from this love story of the newlyweds, another love triangle was going on the sets of Sholay. Sanjeev Kumar had already proposed to Hema Malini and she had rejected his proposal, but still had hopes on her. On the other hand, Dharmendra, who was a married man, was hopelessly in love with Hema Malini, but her mother was very protective of her and disapproved of this relationship. So the only way he could romance with her was on the sets. During the romance scenes between him and Hema Malini, he would tip the light boys to make a mistake so that there would be retakes and he would romance with her again and embrace her. Every time he would pay the light boys 100 rupees. Sometimes the light boys earned up to 2000 rupees. He would make a sign like pulling his ear or something and they would know that there should be a retake. He would request Ramesh to play Cupid between them. Hema trusted Ramesh Sippy a lot. Slowly, Ramesh also understood that Hema had feelings for Paji, as Dharamji was called. As Hema Malini mentions later, it was nobody's fault. Love was in the air. Everybody was in love with somebody. Now we come to the integral part of the film, the shoot. Ramesh Sippy, apart from handling the magnum opus production, the construction of the sets, the shoot dates of all the big stars, had to deal with their egos as well. The whole crew was like an army. Cinematographer, stars, their spot boys, makeup men, hairstylists, generators with attendants, cameras, horses, construction crew, dressmen, cooks, assistants, junior artists, fighters and dancers. All of them were transported to Bangalore. 3 hotels were booked. Hotel Ashoka, Bangalore International, and a third hotel en route the location. The location was Ramanagaram near Bangalore. Every day, about 150 people travelled from Bangalore to the location and back. Ramesh and Divecha, the cameraman, were the first to arrive on the sets every day at 6 in the morning. The first day of shoot was planned on October 2nd, 1973. Ramesh woke up in the morning, excited and confident to start the shoot. But rain began to pour in torrents. He waited till afternoon and cancelled the day's shoot. He was disappointed, though he never showed it, and then he quietly planned the next day's shoot. Was it a bad omen? He wondered. But then he immediately brushed it aside. The Sippy shoot was planned meticulously like a Hollywood film. There were call sheets, locations, hotel pickups, and everything was perfect. But still there were problems. Jaya struggled with her morning sickness and Hema with her long dialogues. Javed helped Hema Malini to rehearse her dialogues in the hotel itself. The whole shoot was like a huge picnic. Bhaduri, the cook from Mumbai, used to churn out wonderful delicacies. There was always a lavish spread of food. Only Hema Malini used to carry her South Indian food from the hotel. In spite of all the meticulous arrangements, shoot progressed at a snail's pace, and the budget was overshooting. Ramesh and Divecha both connected beautifully. Both were perfectionists. Once a scene where Gabbar kills Thakur's family was shot in 23 days. Some days there would be sun, some days there would be cloud. But finally, Ramesh decided that they would shoot on cloudy days because it matched with the mood of the scene. Some days the sun set early and the light was gone. On some days there was rain. On other days there was some other mess up. Even in the first schedule, they were 10 days behind the schedule. Apart from all this, one day some locals came and demanded to stop the shoot. They said they would burn the set down. A Karnataka-Maharashtra language dispute was going on. They didn't want people from Mumbai shooting in their state, but Ramesh argued that he is providing livelihood for so many people, but they wouldn't agree. They demanded 50,000 rupees. Otherwise, they said they will not allow the shoot to go on. Ramesh stood his ground. He was furious. He asked them to burn the set if they wanted. And then they came down to 20,000 rupees. Finally, they wanted at least 10,000 rupees. Ramesh did not want to give them even a single pie. He called the commissioner of police, and they were all taken away and put behind the bars. The next day, the farmers from the neighboring village turned up. They were the fathers of these arrested boys. These boys were just amateurs and they asked them for forgiveness. They were not criminals, they were just foolish boys. Ramesh finally dropped the cases and the boys ended up working on the same unit. After 7 months of work, only 1/3 of the film was shot. Actually, Sholay was planned as a 6-month film. The whole film should have been done in 6 months. The crew was travelling up and down from Mumbai to Ramanagaram and the budget was haywire. Occasionally GP Sippy made a noise about the budget, but Ramesh Sippy was very cool. The crew assembled again in May 1974, but by the time Jaya had delivered her first child in March and was looking very plump and she was glowing with motherhood. She just did not suit the rule of a forlorn widow. Ramesh called the entire crew and told them that he was cancelling the shoot primarily for the sake of Jaya. But he called all the managers and told them that the next time he came, he would finish the film and only go back. So he wanted bulk dates from all the artists. But back in Mumbai, there were so many rumors about the film. A lot of people said that the film had overshooted its budget, and some said they would never finish the film, and they said several other things about the film, etc., etc. Ramesh ran into Jitendra one day, and Jitendra asked him whether they are still shooting Sholay. He said he has finished 3 films in the meantime. Ramesh was not perturbed by all these comments or rumors. He was just focused on his film, and he knew he had so much of confidence in his subject and in his film. Music was being recorded at Rajkamal Studios by R.D. Burman. It was the only studio which had a 6-track system. The singers could dub later, but all the 60 or 70 odd musicians had to play together. They recorded a Qawwali with Kishore Kumar, Manna Dey, Bhupender and Anand Bakshi, but it was never shot. The film was already longer than expected. Anand Bakshi, who wrote the lyrics for the film, said later that if the song was short, he would maybe become a singer too. R.D. Burman used to listen to the story in a nutshell, but the song sequences had to be explained to him in complete detail. He recorded all the songs, and Bakshi was super fast in writing the lyrics. For most of the songs in Sholay, the tunes were composed first, and then Anand Bakshi had to write the lyrics for the tune. If you like our videos and channel, please like and subscribe.